game they're trying to sell, because
Yeah.
there is definitely a target audience of the type of game that they're selling here.
Well, here's the truth. Like, again, this is a space bounty hunter game. This is a game for guys. Guys are going to play a game like this. If you have a male audience, there are two ways that you can write a character. And if you either have a male character that they can relate to, or a female character that they can jerk off to. That's it.
I want you to imagine an alternative culture where instead of fan service and character design being criticized, you have violence being criticized. It's not that difficult to imagine because I lived in those times. I remember there was a news article talking about Dragon Ball where Frieza impales Krillin on his horn in the planet Namek. And the horn penetrates Krillin's chest, and then he starts bouncing him on the horn, and Krillin is coughing blood. And my God, like, that terrified the Christians. That literally horrified an entire generation of parents, because they were like, why would kids watch such vile, disgusting stuff? And every week on Fox News, there was like another murder, and they would say, "Oh, we went to the guy's house, and do you know what we found out? He was playing video games. Like, that's the common denominator. Like, they're playing video games and they're teaching kids how to be violent." Now imagine if they actually managed to censor the violence. Like, if you had Christians that actually got jobs in these companies and they started censoring all of the violence. And they would just remove all the blood and the gore, and they will make violence to be more implied. I mean, the video games would still be playable. Like, you would still have gameplay. It's just like the violence wasn't there. And so you may have people like complaining, and you'd have people like pointing this out. And the argument would be like, oh, you're just violence. You're a violence addict. You have gores for brain. Like, why do you want to see that? What is wrong with you? Why would you personally want to see a video game where there's blood? Like, what type of freak are you? What type of disturbing, disgusting individual are you? Right, and so the world we live in is not like that. Like, fortunately, the only thing that Christians managed to do was to push for the creation of the ESRB, but that's pretty much what they did in extensive censorship. However, you do have an entire generation of people that were traumatized by third wave feminism, which claims that the male gaze is evil. Like, the male gaze is dehumanizing, it promotes rape culture. There is something pathologically wrong with the guy that likes to oogle at sexy women. And so, like, this entire generation internalized that. There's a lot of heteronormative guys that hate themselves. Like, they genuinely, like, you go and talk to them on Twitter, they hate their sexuality, in the sense, like, any type of expression of it is viewed as vile. And this is why you now have, like, the concept of a lewd girl as something, exaggerated. Like, I see Christians calling a fully dressed woman, like, anything that's sexually stimulating, anything that can provoke arousal, they consider it as pornography. So, like, if you have a Miss July calendar, or you have, like, just a girl sitting on a beach, that is porn. And the only reason people want that in video games is to jerk off. Like, there's no other reason. And so the definition of words has been changed. And when you see Asmongold say something like, men want a woman to jerk off to, what he is actually saying is, like, men want a woman that's attractive. And, is it correct? And I would say it's partially correct. It's easier to create a female character that's attractive and sell. It's just like, there is even research which shows that when men look at an attractive female character, they experience euphoria. So this goes, like, beyond arousal. Like, you can have someone that looks at a statue of Venus, and they're not getting a boner, but they're getting euphoria. It's the same similar thing if you're watching a painting of a beautiful vista. Like, you're seeing a beautiful mountaintop or a beautiful lake, and you're experiencing euphoria. It's the same thing that men get when they're watching a perfect feminine body, right? So, like, you get, even if the statue doesn't have head or arms, it's just like the female shape of it. Like, it's not going to cause arousal, but it is going to cause people to experience euphoria. And so, like, making characters like that is obviously an easier sell. Does it mean that you cannot make characters outside of that? No, of course you can. I mean, World of Warcraft has people playing female undead night elves, right? So you do notice that, no, like men are willing to look at characters that aren't hot. For example, in The Expanse, you have this character, right? And she was actually my favorite. The other one that was my favorite was the Martian girl with big boobs. But the reason that this was my favorite wasn't because she's attractive, right? It was the way she was written. Like, she had a lot of gravitas, and she didn't have like the angry girl boss thing that Hollywood does. Like, she had a feminine way of imposing respect. Whenever she entered the room, like, she was just commanding respect. The actress did a fantastic job at playing the role, right? Here's another example. Like, if you haven't seen The Expanse, you'll probably agree with me with this take. Lady Olenna Tyrell. Again, beautifully written character. I don't think anyone would say that she's hot. However, the way she composed herself, her character, her behavior, all of that is so well written that she is a fan favorite. And so the question is, like, what exactly makes a female character great versus what makes a female character not so great? And I think, like, you can, of course, have a female character that doesn't look attractive at all, but it's very difficult to compensate because not everyone has the talent to write a character like Olenna Tyrell. Not everyone has the talent to write a character like the one from The Expanse. You gotta make sure that your writer is absolutely top-notch to compensate because you didn't want to go with the visual design. But what is happening in a lot of AAA games right now is that they're deciding to go away with the design, right? Which is there to help you create a character. And they're saying, no, like, we're going to go out of our way to avoid the male gaze. Like, we're going to subvert the standards of beauty expectation. But then the personality of these characters aren't likable. So they will have, like, the constant angry, frowny face, prone to violence. It's usually like they will have a female character that's just like the way they define toxic masculinity. Like, literally all the traits. They put it in that female character. Or they make her annoying and quirky. And so the fans don't like it. And then they're angry that why aren't the fans liking it? Why don't they resonate with it? And the reason for it, I think, is that if you make a character in a video game that's supposed to be a protagonist or an NPC that's with the party, and that character isn't someone that people would want to hang up with, right? So, like, if I were to have Abby from The Last of Us in real life, like, there's no way that I would want to hang out with her. I'm not even talking sexually. Like, I wouldn't want to go and have a beer with Abby from The Last of Us. Like, there's nothing in her personality that would make me want to get to know her or connect with her or talk to her, right? Meanwhile, if you look at the Mass Effect characters, like the way the West used to make characters in 2016, I would like to hang out with everyone from the cast, male or female. Like, that's even part of the game design. Is that you want to meet these characters and you want to get to know more about these characters. And, you know, they just don't do that anymore. I think, like, the mentality when they're making characters nowadays is to be a self-insert, right? So, like, if you're a toxic person and you see yourself in a video game, you see your characters, your behaviors, they feel validated somehow. It's like, okay, it's okay to be toxic, pretty much. And so when the public reacts negatively to that, when the public is going, no, this is a toxic person, we don't like her personality, they feel personally attacked, which is why they then lash out and say they want to punch gamers and shit. Because the mindset is completely different, right? Like, when they created characters in the past, 2016 era, it was either characters you'd want to date, or characters you'd want to hang out with, or characters you'd want to go adventuring with. When they're creating characters now, it's like, well, this is someone from our development team. They're very toxic, and we want you to validate them. And the reason I know this is because they say this at various conventions, and, you know, it's literally baked in the ideology. But there is a reason that goes beyond social why people don't like these types. I mean, of course, like, some people will like them. You know, maybe some individuals do like Abby from The Last of Us or something. But like when you apply it to percentages and you look at the overwhelming response, most people play these games because of the gameplay aspect rather than the character. Like even the fans of The Last of Us 2 and people who enjoy the game, if you talk with them, like it's very difficult to find individuals who actually liked Abby. You know, they played the game because they liked it despite Abby, not like Abby was pushing the game forward. And this is a stark comparison to Tomb Raider, the first one, where Lara is trapped on an island. And you like the game because of her personality, because of her looks. Like literally everything about her would make you want to go adventuring with her. And so, you know, if I go back, I would say that in order for a female character to be successful, like you can either go with attractiveness, which is very simple. Like attractiveness is simply simple to do. And then if you fuck up her personality or everything else, you still have the attractiveness. The second thing is like you can make her cool, right? So like a Samus Aran type of character. Like she's not attractive. Maybe she's a female undead or something. But she's really cool. Like she's got like different abilities. She's got like certain things that make her look awesome. And then people will like that. Or if she is hilarious, right? Like she's really funny. She's a comedy relief character. That can also work. But if you create a character where you go out of your way to avoid all these things, then I don't think it's going to resonate with the public. And the reality is you can't sell a game with bad character design. I mean, you know, it's fine. But then you need to compensate with the gameplay and the story. And the question is like, why did you have to go out of your way in order to do anything against everything that the market is telling you not to do? Like, you know what people want, you know what people are interested in buying, and yet you choose. Like, this is usually a designer choice. It's not like, you know, some Tumblr artist that draws art the way he likes. Like, no, this is a AAA company that usually has people experienced in marketing, and then they have people that understand what the customer wants, and yet they choose to do the opposite of what the customer wants. And the question is for whom? And you can see this in the mods, usually, right? Like, the moment the game launches, if the top mods are to fix the facial features of a character or to fix like the body type and stuff, okay, well, why didn't you do it in the game then? Like, it's one thing if those mods exist, but like when they're the top on the charts, they're the number 1 and number 2 mods, then people are speaking out, and it's like, why aren't you listening? But anyway, it's obvious that there is an ideological push in order to make female characters as unattractive. Like the developers aren't just creating a character from a neutral standpoint, they're going out of their way in order to make it as unappealing as possible to fight the male gaze. And so we reached a point where if someone says, like, why can't we just have attractive characters? Then that person is going to be labeled as addicted to pornography, Coomer brain, and all the other insults. And so when Asmongold says that every single female character needs to look like something you jerk off to, even though it's not correct, I do agree with the sentiment because we have to demoralize these people. Like, all these people need to be so demoralized to the point where they just shut up. And once they shut up, then we can rebuild gaming to the point where it was back to 2014, 2016 era. So up until then, yeah, like every single video game needs to have a mercy. If it doesn't have a mercy, it's bad game design. You know, fuck this shit. Flip the table. That's how they got to the place where we're at. You know, they also flipped the table. It's like, well, why do these games don't have gay characters? Why do these games don't have minorities? Why do these games all have standards of beauty? And they flipped the table, right? So they got to where we are now. So now we need to reflip the table to make it stand back to the way it was before. But, you know, like as a customer, obviously you can buy whatever you want. But I personally, when I find the modern Western female aesthetic that they're going with, I just like it just puts me off because I know the ideology that comes with it. And so I do agree with what Asmongold is saying. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.